You've probably seen the hype around voice AI, and if you have been following my channel, you know that I specialize in voice AI and building AI agents and automations. So you would have seen a lot of posts on X and TikToks where somebody's demoing a voice agent that sounds incredible as a demo video, but has never actually taken a real phone call from a real customer. So in this video, I'm going to show you the use cases that businesses are actually paying $2, $5, $10, $15,000 to have built. So they're agents that are running right now 24/7, booking appointments, qualifying leads, and generating real revenue. So my name is John. I run Nebula AI. We build voice AI and automation systems for service-based businesses. So for example, dental, HVAC, real estate, construction, accounting, you name it. So if the phones are ringing at your business, then we can turn that into real revenue and real cash collected for your business. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 10 use cases, both inbound and outbound, and I'll tell you roughly what each one sells for, which industries they work best in, and the specific results that we've seen. Then at the very end, I'm going to talk about the one use case that I would highly recommend you stay away from. Anyways, if you want to learn how to build and sell these yourself, or you want one built for your business, book a call with me down below. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Before we dive in, let me quickly frame how I think about voice agents. There are really two buckets. So the first bucket is inbound. So this is where the customer is calling the business. They need something. They have a request. So they'll pick up the phone and they'll dial your number and then the AI will answer. And then there's outbound, which is where the business is calling the customer. Follow-ups, reminders, reactivation campaigns, things like that. Some agents do both, which we'll get into, but here's a key principle that I want you to keep in mind throughout this entire video. The best voice agents don't necessarily replace a human. They give the business a capability it never had before, and that's where the real money is. So anyways, let's start with inbound. Starting with the simplest and honestly one of the most underrated use cases is the smart call routing agent, sometimes called a call triage system. So I notice this a lot with people getting to voice AI and trying to build their first voice agent. They try to build the most complex, complicated, and sophisticated voice agent that they can. They try to have all these different features. It has to do this, it has to do that. They try to give it superpowers basically. So they're trying to build a Superman from like the first get-go. But honestly, you don't need to start that complicated. You can start very simple actually. And this is one of the most simple but most effective use cases of voice AI. So anyways, back to the topic. So you know those old phone menus, right? The IVRs. So press 1 for sales, press 2 for support, press 3 to hear these options again. I don't know how you feel about them, but I hate them and most people I know hate them. So yeah, it's very inefficient. It takes a long time to go through all the options. People press the wrong number. They get bounced around between departments. They get confused about which button to press and then they have to be put on hold. And then once they get to somebody, the person tells them that they reached the wrong department. So they have to reroute them and they have to wait again. And it's a mess, all right? They hang up frustrated and it's a terrible experience. So a voice AI routing agent replaces all of that. The customer, they just speak naturally. Hey, I got a question about my invoice, and the AI understands that and routes them straight to the accounting department or to the billing department, whatever you want to call it. Another example is I need to schedule a repair. Then it goes straight to the maintenance team. No menus, no buttons, no guessing. The AI just recognizes your intent and routes you to the right department. You don't have to listen to 10 different options and you don't have to decide which one is the most suitable for you. Now, the reason that I'm starting with this one is that it's the easiest agent to build, and that's actually the point. This is the perfect first agent to sell to a client because one, it's incredibly low risk. You're not replacing anyone, you're not fully automating anything, you're just making their phone system smarter and more efficient. And because of that, clients will be more comfortable saying yes to this. And two, another reason I love this as a starting point is that once the client sees that it works and they love it, which they always do in my experience, they're going to come back and say, okay, that's great. What else can you do? That means that you have your foot in the door, and then what you do from there is you build on top of it. You provide more upsells, you provide more value, and you add appointment booking, you add lead qualification, you add after-hour handling. Each of those is a new project. It's a new invoice and a new experience for you. And going back to after hours, it's actually a very big one here. So when no one's available to take the call, the AI, it captures the caller's request, generates an AI summary, and sends it by email to the right person on the team so they can follow up the next morning. Or if the voice AI is advanced enough, so if you build a voice AI for appointment booking, then it can just book the appointments straight on the call there at 7 p.m. or 11 p.m., whatever. So that alone saves business hours every week. So having a phone system that's available 24/7 is extremely efficient, is extremely valuable to businesses. But anyways, the smart call routing system, these typically sell for around $2,000 to $5,000 depending on the complexity, and they work for basically any multi-department business, whether it's a trades company, whether it's professional services, a SaaS product, medical practices, you name it. So if you're a beginner or if you're just getting started selling voice AI, this is where I'll start. Build this, prove the value, and then upsell everything else from here. And the second use case is inbound appointment booking. So this is one of the most requested systems that we get asked to build. So if you could only learn how to build just one voice agent, then this is the one that you have to learn. And the reason is the problem that it solves is very simple. So when a potential customer calls a business and nobody picks up, that lead is gone. So studies, it shows that around 35% of calls to small businesses, they go unanswered. So this does depend on the industry. So for example, banks and financial firms, they miss up to 50% of calls. In fact, they lose around 35% of calls. Real estate and other professional services, they can miss around 60% of calls. It does depend on the industry, but either way, 35% is still a very high figure. And so for a local business, that can result in around $100,000 in lost revenue per year. And that's something that you can recover by using an inbound appointment booking system. And this is especially the case for dental practices. Some data suggests that they lose over $100,000 a year from just missed calls. And that's definitely not a small number, whether you're just like one shop or whether you're a chain or whether you're a franchise. But anyways, for inbound appointment booking, the AI answers the phone 24/7, asks a few questions like what service do you need, what time would you like to come in, what's your name, what's your number, what's your email, and then it checks the real-time availability on the calendar and it books the appointment right there on the call. So no human is needed. And it can also handle rescheduling and cancellation. So if somebody calls to move their appointment, the AI can check what's available and make the change. It sends a confirmation via SMS or email, updates the CRM, and all of it happens automatically. No human needed. So you can save the hours that you spend on like just making bookings, clicking buttons, because an AI can do all of it now. It's automated. So where it gets interesting from a pricing perspective is that a simple appointment booking agent, so this is just booking, nothing else, you could sell that for around $4,000. And if it gets very complex and it becomes a very comprehensive agent, you can sell it for around $15,000 up to that amount, but I wouldn't rely on it. For the inbound appointment booking agent, yeah, you can sell it for around $4,000 to $6,000. But once again, depending on the complexity, depending on the size of the firm, and also depending on the number of calls that they're getting, so the call volume and the average order value, things like that. I'll make another video about pricing your voice agent, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, like when you add more capabilities to it, the price goes up significantly. Booking plus lead qualification and lead scoring, which means that the AI asks a few extra qualification questions to make sure that the person is actually a good fit before they get booked. That's what makes the voice agent go up in value. And if it's a very big company, then yeah, you can look at around like 10K for this kind of agent. But yeah, anyways, the point is the build price, it varies depending on the size of the firm, the average call volume, the average order volume, the call volume, and the buying power of the firm. Basically, every industry is applicable. So, but especially dentists, medical firms, real estate, home services, hair salons, med spas, really any appointment-based business. And even restaurants as well for taking reservations. And if they have a calendar and if they have a phone number, this agent prints money for them. All right, so this one is huge for any business that's running ads or getting a high volume of inbound leads. So here's the problem. Let's say you're a solar company and you're getting 50 leads a day from Facebook ads. Not all of those people are qualified. Some don't even own their home. Some have a roof that's completely shaded or in terrible condition. Some are just time wasters. And if your sales team is manually calling through all 50 of those to figure out who's worth talking to, they're wasting a massive amount of time. So the AI qualification agent fixes this. It either answers when the lead calls in or is triggered when they submit a form. It asks a few qualifying questions like what's your situation, what's your budget range, what's your timeline, are you the main decision maker? And based on the answers, it scores the lead and either passes them to the sales team with a full summary or routes them into a nurture sequence if they're not ready yet. And here's a really important design principle. So you want to keep the qualification filter simple, especially at the start. The more questions you make the AI ask, the more people are going to hang up and the more complex and difficult that it's going to be, and the more prone it will be to errors. And let's face it, nobody wants to sit through a 15-question interrogation on the phone. Start with a few questions, like 3 to 5.
You can always add more. Once the system is proven, the client is happy, and you need more qualification layers. And another mistake that I see people making is trying to get the AI to do the full discovery call. So that's the sales rep's job. The AI's job is to simply qualify them and separate the signal from the noise in the 90 seconds. So it just needs to find out who's qualified and who isn't. That's it. And these agents, they sell from $4,000 to $10,000 depending on the complexity. And they work incredibly well for real estate, solar, insurance, home services. So it's really any industry where you've got high lead volume, involves appointment setting and a sales meeting, and you really need to filter fast on top of that. And the fourth use case is customer support agents. So this is a premium inbound build, and it commands premium pricing for a good reason. So think about any business that has a support line. IT companies, e-commerce stores, property management firms, SaaS companies. Their support teams spend 60 to 70% of their time answering the exact same question over and over again. What's your return policy? How long does shipping take? What is the shipping cost? Or can I get a refund for this? Can I get a refund for that? Or what's the status of my order? How do I reset my password? What are your business hours? When is the technician coming? Meanwhile, the actual critical issues, like the ones that genuinely need a human, like complex technical issues or something like related to an item getting caught in customs for e-com stores, it gets delayed because the team is buried in repetitive calls and inquiries. So the customer support voice agent handles that entire first tier. It answers the FAQs, it checks order statuses, it logs support tickets, it updates the CRM. And if the issue is complex or urgent, it's escalated to the right human agent with a full AI-generated summary of what the customer needs. So when the human picks up, they already know the situation. There won't be any more, can you explain your issue again? So we built one of these for an e-com company, and now their clients call a single number. The AI picks up, identifies the issue, checks the knowledge base, and either solves it on the spot or it creates a ticket and routes it to the right human customer support agent. And that bill, it costs $8,000. So it's been running for close to a year, and the amount of time it saves for them every single week, it's easily over 20 hours of phone time that their staff no longer have to deal with. It's been incredible. And the reason that people can charge higher pricing for customer support agents is because the build is more complex. You have knowledge base integration. You have to clean up the data. You have to ensure that the data and the knowledge base, they don't contradict each other. Ticket system connections, CRM updates, routing logic, escalation logic, different team members. But the ROI is massive. So one of our clients told us that it effectively eliminated the wait time of their customers to just merely a few minutes for its customer support. Whereas before, people would have to wait over 30 minutes, like an hour or so, just to reach a human. And if you can sell this and deliver it, it's one of the highest value agents that you can build. And it leads to long-term retainers because the business literally cannot function without it once it's running. Now, I do want to include this because it does come up a lot, but I also want to be honest about the limitations. So an inbound sales agent is exactly what it sounds like. So if somebody calls in, the AI is trained on the company's product or services, and it tries to handle the sale or at least move the prospect further down the pipelines. Think of someone calling an insurance company and the AI walks them through the different packages, handles objections, and tries to close. But here's the reality though. Sales is very difficult over the phone, especially if it's high ticket, and even more difficult to design if it's AI. So even for experienced humans, it's very difficult. While AI has gotten incredibly good at natural conversation, closing a sale requires a high level of nuance, empathy, and reading between the lines that is still very difficult for AI to do consistently. So AI, it might be able to do low ticket sales quite well, but high ticket sales, leave it to the humans. And what we found works much better is using the AI to handle the initial questions and qualifications, basically everything we just talked about, and then transferring it to a dedicated human sales rep to close the deal. And now this heavily depends on the product. So if it's simple, low commitment, and the decision is straightforward, and it's a low ticket product, so that means low price, like booking a cleaning service or signing up for a subscription, AI can handle more of the sales process. But for complex high ticket services, or if it's like buying a new car or buying a new home, just let the human do it. Use the AI to get them to that point faster. So it's a valid use case, but approach it in stages and be realistic. Don't try to replace your entire sales team with AI on day one. And for me, I never try to replace entire humans or offer to replace a human. What my goal is to complement the humans and save them time so they can do the work that matters. and not do the boring repetitive tasks that nobody wants to do. So I just covered the top 5 inbound use cases. Now let's flip to outbound, where the business is calling the customer. So starting with one of the most simple outbound agents, but one that delivers immediate visible value every single time, is appointment reminders. So no-shows, they're one of the biggest silent revenue killers for appointment-based businesses. So a dental practice that has 5 no-shows a week, so let's say $100 to $200 per appointment. That's $25,000 to $50,000 a year in just lost revenue alone. And that's all because people didn't show up to their appointments. And most businesses, they either don't remind people at all, or they send a text message that gets buried in the notifications and just gets forgotten. But a phone call is different. If you receive a phone call, you have to answer it and you feel obliged to answer it. So it's more difficult to ignore. And data shows that a voice reminder gets 3 to 5 times the engagement of an SMS message. So the AI calls the customer 24 to 48 hours before their appointment. Hey, Sarah, just a quick reminder that you've got your dental cleaning tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Dr. Smith. Does it still work for you? And if they confirm, great. If they need to reschedule, the AI handles it right there. If they want to cancel, it processes that too and frees up the slot. So the calendar gets updated automatically. The business doesn't have to do anything. It's done for them on autopilot. And we've solved this exact use case multiple times for around $3,000. Initially, I started with around like $2,000. Sometimes I still do, but like 3,000 is more a realistic figure. 6,000 is a bit of a stretch here. Yeah, I just made an error with these slides. Anyways, like around 3,000 is a realistic price. And it's on the simpler side, which also makes it easier to build and deliver quickly. And it pairs perfectly with the inbound appointment booking agent from earlier. So the AI books them in, then the AI reminds them to show up. So it's a full loop, basically. So one thing I would recommend is always make sure that the agent can handle rescheduling and canceling on the reminder call. So that's a very common situation. And if the AI can't handle it, the caller gets frustrated and you have to do more manual work, which is something that you want to cut out. So this is a very similar concept to appointment reminders, but it's for payments instead of visits. So if you've ever worked with trades businesses like blue collar, so plumbers, electricians, builders, you know that chasing unpaid invoices is one of the most painful admin tasks in existence. These guys are on site all day. They're not sitting in an office making follow-up calls about overdue invoices. So what happens? Payment slip, cash flow suffers, and they only end up chasing the really overdue ones. But an AI invoice reminder, it solves this. It connects the accounting software like Xero, QuickBooks, whatever they use, and automatically calls clients when invoices are overdue or just before they're due. So the call is pretty simple. It goes something like, "Hi, this is a courtesy call from Smith Plumbing. We have an invoice for $850 that was due on the 15th. I just sent you a text with a direct payment link. Is there anything I can help you with regarding this?" So the call is quite simple, and you can also build escalation logic on top of it too. So friendly reminder at the due date, a slightly firmer follow-up at 7 days overdue, a final notice at 30 days, each with a different tone and urgency. And the benefit is direct, improved cash flow. So the money the business was already owed but wasn't collecting fast enough. That's a very easy sell. These can be around like $3,000 once again. So it's just like the appointment reminders, and they work for any service-based businesses that require appointments. So like trades, accounting firms, really any B2B business that invoices clients. So the 8th one, this one doesn't get talked about a lot in the voice AI space, but I think it's a very underrated use case out there that people are sleeping on. So it's a post-service review collection, but I made a video about it, so go check it out when you can up here. But anyways, Google reviews, they are the lifeline of local businesses. So every business owner knows this. The problem is that actually getting customers to leave reviews is a painful manual process. You finish a job, you send a text, maybe you send an email, and you hope that they write a review from the kindness of their heart. But in reality, most people don't. But what if right after a service is provided and completed, the AI calls the customer and asks about their experience? "Hey Mark, this is a quick call from Johnson Electrical. I just wanted to check in. How was the work that our team did yesterday?" And they'll say, "You guys were great." "Okay, that's great. I'm really glad to hear that. What did you find great about us?" So just ask a few questions, transcribe the call, and then send them a text right after the call with a review that they just spoke out on the call, tidied up into a friendly format to post on Google Reviews or Trustpilot or whatever. It's just going to be ready for them to just like simply copy and paste onto Google Reviews or to Trustpilot. So that's what happens if the customer is very happy, like 4 to 5 stars, and if the customer is unhappy, so if they provide 1 to 3 stars, the AI doesn't send the review link. Instead, it will say something like, "I'm sorry to hear that. Let me flag this for the team so somebody can reach out to make it right." and it sends an internal alert to the managers. So this way you take in genuine feedback and then you remind your team to look into this and to take the right steps to make amends and also to improve on your performance. So you should see the beauty of this. So happy customers, they get funneled to Google, and unhappy customers, they get caught before they write a bad review. So it's reputation management on autopilot. And every business understands the value of this immediately. You don't have to explain ROI. You don't have to convince them. They already know that one 5-star review is worth future business, because let's think about it. Let's say you're traveling Paris and you're trying to find a nice restaurant. So what do? You look on Google Maps and you see a restaurant with 5,000 5-star reviews. You're going to want to try that, right? So that's basically what it is. And yeah, you can sell these for around like $3,000 as well. They're an easy and fast agent to build and deliver. So what I usually do with this agent is I don't try to offer it on the sales call. I build out something like the receptionist or the appointment setter sales agent. And then once I prove the value of voice AI to them, I upsell this. Number 9, this is the lead reactivation agent. It's one of the highest ROI agents in the voice AI space, and let me explain why. So this is essentially database reactivation, and what it means is it goes to your entire database of leads, so leads that you haven't talked to for up to a year, and then you message and then you contact each and every single one, see who's still interested in what you have to offer. If they're interested, then that's great. You onboard them. And otherwise, if they're not interested, then it's okay. But yeah, anyways, every business, they have a gold mine sitting in the CRM that they have completely forgotten about. So old leads that have never converted, past clients who haven't come back in up to a year. So people who inquired once, but never heard from again. And most companies, they just let these lists sit there collecting dust because nobody has time to manually call through 2,000 contacts. So what do? You have AI contacting them. You first send out an SMS, check if they're interested. SMS or email either work. And then once you get their level of interest, if they're interested, that's when you activate this agent to call them. And then it will do some basic qualification, ask a few questions, and if it's a good fit and they're ready to go, that's when they transfer them to a human agent and arrange a meeting. So a call could go something like, hey, Sarah, we helped you get your roof cleaned about a year ago, and I just wanted to check in. Are you due for another one? If Sarah is interested, then she's going to want to arrange another appointment. If she's not interested, then that's okay. If she doesn't want to hear from you again, then that's okay. Just remove her from your database and don't contact her again. But anyways, the beauty of this is that it requires 0 ad spend. So you're monetizing contacts the business already has, and the business literally could not do this without AI. So no human team is going to call 2,000 people or like 10,000 people in a week. The AI can do it in just a few days. And now the pricing is interesting with this one because there's a few models that work well. You can charge a flat setup fee. You can do it for around $5,000. Or you could charge per result, maybe $100 per qualified booking, depending on how many leads they have and what service they offer. Or you could do a revenue share, a percent, so like a percentage of closed deals from reactivated leads. So there's multiple ways to approach this, but the per result model is great because it aligns with your incentives with the client. So you only get paid when they get results. And if the list is good, you can make significantly more than you would from a flat fee. However, there is one critical thing to go through. So make sure the business has prior consent to call these leads. It should not be a lead list that they purchased from somebody else, leads that they've never talked to. And also make sure that the leads, they are fairly recent. If they're over a year, then it might be better not to contact them. And also it depends on like the level of intent of the leads. So let's say, for example, the leads are from like people that entered a draw to win a $50 Amazon gift card. Then yeah, you wouldn't want to contact them, especially if they're like over a year old, because most of these people, let's face it, they just fill out your quiz or questionnaire just for the Amazon gift card. So yeah, those are important things to consider. You need that consent and you need that level of intent and qualification. So make sure you verify this with the client before you start. And finally, there's the speed to lead agent. So this is my personal favorite use case and the one I think has the most untapped potential in the market right now. So here's the scenario. Business is running Facebook ads or Google ads. A lead fills out a form expressing interest. That form submission triggers a notification. Maybe 30 seconds later, maybe 2 hours later, maybe the next morning, maybe in a few days, they might see it and reach out. But by then it's too late because research from the Harvard Business Review shows that responding within 5 minutes increases your odds of converting a lead by up to 100 times compared to just waiting 30 minutes or maybe even longer. So there's a lot of research going around. There's a lot of different numbers going around. So some say it's 1 minute response time, some say it's 5. But yeah, either way, you get the point. The conversion difference is huge. And even Alex Hormozy himself, he says he pays a human appointment setter $60,000 a year just to wait around on the phone. And what he does is he literally waits for a lead to come in. And the moment that lead comes in, he just calls them. So literally within 1 minute. So if Alex Hormozy is doing that, then yeah, you should take something out of it. So yeah, anyways, 5 minutes versus 30 minutes is the difference between a 100x improvement in conversion. And the speed to lead agent, it calls a lead within 60 seconds of them submitting the form. Not 30 minutes, not 2 hours, 60 seconds. So while they're still on the phone, while they're still thinking about the problem that they need solved. And what the AI does is it qualifies their needs, answers their initial questions, and books them directly into the calendar. If they don't pick up, it triggers an automated sequence: SMS, voicemail, email, and try another call later. So this is a perfect example of giving business a capability it never had before. So no human team can monitor every lead source 24/7 and call instantly unless you're Alex Hormozy. That's just not possible for 99% of people unless you don't sleep, but the AI can. So we built this exact system for various different industries like accounting, plumbing, electricians, solar companies, roofing. We built this for so many different service-based industries, and they're getting leads every day, but their team couldn't follow up fast enough. But because of this agent, they're able to book meetings on autopilot, and they don't have to worry about forgetting to follow up with a lead that just submitted interest. So one system that involves calling leads fast. And that's easily 6 figures in the pipeline per month. And that's the kind of impact that makes voice AI impossible to ignore. So these sell for around like $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the complexity and the number of lead sources you're connecting. And the ROI is obvious, but however, you want to make this very good, because if it's not good, then it's going to look very bad on you. So yeah, make sure that this is great. However, while voice AI is great and I love building AI voice agents, there is something that I do have to make clear. This is something that I personally don't do, and this is something that I recommend you don't do. I recommend you stay away from this. So that's AI cold calling. Cold calling, just a quick definition, is where you send calls to people who have never interacted with you before. No prior relationship, no consent. You're just blasting through a list of phone numbers trying to sell them something. And I've seen people promoting this as a great use case for voice AI, and I completely disagree. And I'll tell you why. So first and most importantly, it's illegal in major markets. So the US TCPA, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, has stated that you are not allowed to send anyone an AI-generated call without their direct consent. And the FCC confirmed in February 2024 that AI-generated voices count as artificial or pre-recorded voices under the TCPA. That means the same consent requirements apply. And if you violate this, you're looking at penalties of like $500 to $1,500 per violation. So if you're blasting through 1,000 phone numbers and you get caught 10 times, that's like around 5K to 15K in fines alone. So this is US law specifically, and other countries, they do have their own regulations. Like Australia, they have the Do Not Call Register Act. The EU has its own rules. So regulators, they don't want unsolicited AI calls going out to people, and the world is generally very against AI cold calling. And secondly, even if it were legal, it doesn't work well. Cold calls, they already have a very low success rate. Even most people struggle with cold calling. But now imagine it's an AI voice that people immediately recognize as artificial. They're going to hang up even faster. And the cost per acquisition, it makes no sense compared to warm outbound approaches, especially considering the cost of calling with the AI voice agents and also considering the cost of scraping the leads. And third, this is the one that matters most to me personally. It's not ethical. So put yourself on the other end of that call. You're having dinner, your phone rings. It's an AI trying to sell you insurance. A human calling you about that would annoy you. But imagine if it's AI. It's going to make you feel annoyed, frustrated. And so every time one of these spam AI cold call goes out, it makes it harder for legitimate voice AI to be trusted. And you're poisoning the well for the entire industry, including yourself. So here's the thing. You don't need cold calling. I don't even do cold calling for myself. I hate it. Like, I've been asked multiple times by multiple people to build AI cold calling agents, and I turn them down. That's something that I never do. So if you want me to build an AI cold calling agent for you, then don't ask, because the answer is no. So yeah, We covered a lot in this video today. So a quick summary of everything so far. Speed to lead, it calls people who just expressed interest. Lead reactivation calls people who already gave consent. Appointment reminders call people who already booked. All of these people are warmer, more effective, and completely legal. So if you have to resort to AI cold calling, you've already lost. If you want to use AI for outreach, just do like cold emails, like LinkedIn DMs. And for voice AI, just focus on the use cases where people actually want to hear from you. This was a long video, the 10 use cases that businesses are making money with voice AI right now, not demos, not viral Instagram posts, the real systems generating real revenue. Whether you want a simple appointment booking agent or the full AI receptionist system, these are the builds that get results. And if you want any of these voice AI systems built for your business, or you're not sure which use case makes the most sense for your situation, but you want some AI systems built for you, you need it in your business, then book a discovery call with me down below. I'll walk you through your situation and help you figure out which AI systems will make the most sense to you, and you'll be able to walk away with some clarity. And if you want to learn to build voice AI agents further, then join my school community, the AI Avengers, down below. So yeah, if you got value from this video, make sure to subscribe, and I'm posting more voice AI breakdowns, workflow automation, tutorials, and real world AI implementation content every single week. So yeah, that was it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.